Chosen one, you've been walking through storms that weren't meant for ordinary souls, because when light walks the earth, shadows panic. When God's hand moves in your life, dark forces start to tremble. But hear this, what they tried to hex, heaven already blessed. There was once a village in Scotland, centuries ago, where healers were hunted and wisdom was burned. The women who prayed over the sick, who used herbs and whispered blessings, were branded witches. The powerful feared them, because their power came from light, not darkness. Now listen closely, the same energy repeats today. When you started to rise, the spiritual atmosphere shifted. You felt resistance, not from people, but from energies that couldn't stand your awakening. Doors closed, relationships fractured. You felt drained, misunderstood, and even targeted. But chosen one, that wasn't a coincidence. The attacks came because your anointing started to speak louder than your silence. They saw the mark of divine favor on your life and mistook it for arrogance. They tried to curse what they could never comprehend. Yet even then, God was 3 moves ahead. While they whispered against you in secret, heaven was already writing your comeback story in public. There was a night you couldn't sleep. You felt something strange, like your spirit was being pulled into a battle you couldn't see. Your dreams became intense, your peace felt fragile, and people you trusted began to reveal their hidden faces. But you didn't realize, it wasn't chaos, it was a revelation. God was exposing energy that pretended to be friendly but fed off your light. You weren't losing people, you were being cleansed of spiritual parasite, because every chosen one goes through a divine separation before elevation. You see, witches don't always wear black hats, they wear smiles. They don't always use potions, they use gossip, jealousy, and spiritual manipulation. But their spells can't stick to a soul sealed by divine purpose. You didn't fall apart, you were being recalibrated by heaven itself. And that feeling of isolation, that wasn't punishment, that was protection. Because when God isolates you, it's never to break you, it's to fortify your spirit before the breakthrough. You remember the moment it all went quiet, the messages stopped, the support disappeared. It felt like every source of validation turned its back. But that silence became your sanctuary, because in the absence of noise, you started hearing God clearly. You began to understand that you were never fighting people, you were fighting principalities. Every disappointment became direction. Every rejection became redirection. And while they thought their words would weaken you, you started transforming their curses into confirmation. That's the irony of divine warfare. The more they plot, the more God promotes. The more they curse, the more heaven compensates. Psychologically, the enemy feeds on fear, but your faith starved it. Spiritually, their energy was chaos, but your peace disarmed it. Every spell they cast dissolved in the fire of your resilience. You didn't just survive, chosen one. You transcended. While you're reading this, unseen forces are still being silenced. Your name is being cleared in realms you haven't even entered yet. And everything that tried to stop your purpose is now serving it. Because when God writes the ending, no witch, no curse, no human hand can edit it. The very forces that tried to bury you have become the soil for your new roots. The betrayal that wounded you has now become your testimony's foundation. The witches didn't fail because they were weak, they failed because you were chosen. They underestimated the spiritual law that governs your life. What's anointed cannot be undone. And now, every time they send darkness your way, it returns tenfold as your blessing. That's divine justice. That's karmic reversal. That's what happens when the universe recognizes God's fingerprint on a soul. It happened quietly, didn't it? No lightning bolt, no grand announcement, just a sudden peace that settled into your bones after months of spiritual exhaustion. That was the sound of heaven flipping the script. While they were plotting in whispers, God was speaking in thunder. The very people who doubted your survival started watching your rise. They couldn't explain it, but they felt it. Your energy shifted, your aura grew untouchable. Because chosen one, divine favor doesn't need permission. The universe recognized the frequency of your endurance and began to rearrange everything in your favor. Opportunities came from nowhere. People who left you were replaced by divine connections that matched your spirit, not your history. Psychologists call it resilience. The faithful call it redemption, but heaven calls it proof of purpose. That's why the weapons failed, because they were never crafted for a warrior whose destiny was pre-written by God Himself. Think about Joseph in the dungeon, forgotten, betrayed, falsely accused. One day he was a prisoner, next a ruler. That's divine timing. That's how heaven works, sudden reversals after long silence. And that's what's happening in your story. Those who mocked your breakdown will soon witness your breakthrough. Those who whispered curses will watch as you are crowned with favor. You see, the energy you've carried was never ordinary. That's why it attracted both angels and adversaries. But now the tables have turned, because your suffering trained your spirit, and your pain became your prophecy. What they thought was the end was actually the setup. Every tear, every lonely night, every unseen battle built your spiritual immunity. You've become unshakable. Your light no longer flickers, it commands. So when life starts accelerating now, don't question it. You earned this place through pain. You qualified through warfare. You're not lucky, you're chosen. Here's the divine irony. The moment they tried to silence your name was the same moment God began to amplify it. The gossip became free publicity. The betrayal became your testimony's headline. Because, chosen one, when heaven promotes you, even your enemies become part of the campaign. Their attempts to discredit you drew more eyes to your resilience. Their hate revealed your hidden greatness. Spiritually, this is the mirror effect of karma. What they send out returns to them, and what they intended for evil returns to you as elevation. Every time they tried to bury your voice, God used the soil to echo it louder. Every rejection was a divine reroute toward purpose. And now, without realizing it, they've fulfilled prophecy. They've become proof that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So don't even wish them harm. Bless them, for they were the wind that fanned your flame. They didn't stop your destiny, they delivered it. You've probably noticed it by now. The same ones who laughed when you cried are now watching your rise in silence. Not because they're plotting again, but because your growth convinced their spirit. Your peace became their mirror. Your success became their reminder. Your light became their lesson. That's how divine justice works. It doesn't humiliate your enemies, it educates them. Because God doesn't just redeem your story, He redeems you into an example of what grace can do. You see, you were never fighting witches. You were fighting ignorance, jealousy, and fear disguised as power. But love always disarms darkness. Grace always outlasts hate. And now, the same energy that once tried to curse you is bowing to your calling. You are walking proof that divine protection is real. Every step you take now radiates frequency, unbothered, unbroken, unstoppable. Before you ever took your first breath, chosen one, heaven already signed a covenant over your life. That's why you've always felt different, out of place, misunderstood, and often too aware of things others could never see. You weren't paranoid, you were perceptive. Your spirit recognized the unseen battle before your mind could explain it. Long before the witches plotted, before betrayal ever touched your heart, a divine signature sealed your destiny. That's why the car crash didn't take you. That's why the depression didn't drown you. That's why the heartbreak couldn't break you. Because God had already whispered your name into eternity, and no darkness can erase what heaven has written. You've been preserved by a promise older than fear itself. Every storm that hit you was filtered through divine permission. Only what could strengthen you was allowed to stay. Psychologically, this is why you've always carried that old soul energy. You've lived through pain meant to awaken wisdom. And now, that same wisdom has become your armor. So don't question why you were targeted. Question why you're still standing. Because survival wasn't luck. It was a legacy. There's something sacred about delay. It feels cruel at first, like heaven went silent when you needed it most. But chosen one, every delay in your life was a divine calibration. You weren't being denied, you were being divinely timed. Every prayer that seemed unanswered was being layered, positioned, and prepared for perfect release. Because what's built too soon breaks too easily. Remember when you thought you were ready? When you begged for blessings that never came? Now you see, God wasn't withholding. He was protecting you from premature elevation. Even the witch's interference became part of the delay. but heaven used their resistance to refine your character, to strengthen your discernment. You learned who to trust. You learned when to rest. You learned that your worth was never in people's approval, it was in divine design. Spiritually, that's alignment. Psychologically, that's self-mastery. And together, they've made you unstoppable. Now, what was delayed is being delivered. And when it arrives, it won't come quietly. It'll come crowned in divine confirmation. There comes a moment when God says, enough. Enough suffering. Enough sabotage. Enough spiritual interference. That moment has already happened for you. You didn't see it, but the shift was real. You started feeling lighter. Dreams became clearer. And the strange heaviness that followed you for years began to fade. That's because heaven drew its sword in your defense. Angels were dispatched. Energy was reversed. The contracts of darkness were canceled. And from that moment on, the war changed direction. You stopped running from battles and started walking in authority. You stopped reacting to attacks and started commanding peace. That's the mark of someone who's no longer the hunted, but the anointed. Because when heaven fights for you, you don't need to lift a weapon. Your stillness becomes warfare. Your peace becomes prophecy. The witches tried to speak curses, but God turned your silence into a sword. Now the reversal begins. Everything they tried to take, peace, purpose, confidence, is returning multiplied. Because when God restores, He doesn't replace, He multiplies. The people who left you will watch you rise. The doors that closed will reopen with honor. The same energy that once oppressed you will now serve you. Spiritually, you've stepped into a job season where loss becomes legacy and ashes become beauty. Psychologically, it's the rebirth of self-belief, forged through adversity. You're no longer proving your worth, you're walking in it. You're no longer waiting for validation, you've become the validation. And now, the universe bends to your energy, because when you align with divine will, the law of attraction becomes the law of ascension. You no longer chase, you attract, you command, you create. The witches didn't fail by accident, they failed by prophecy. God had already declared, "Touch not my anointed," and heaven always keeps its word. Chosen one, you've noticed it, how lately attacks don't hit like they used to. The old triggers don't sting. The same energy that once drained you now disappears before it can even reach you. That's because your purpose has become your protection. When you finally stepped into who you were born to be, heaven assigned reinforcement. Your frequency changed, your vibration rose, and low energies could no longer breathe in your atmosphere. You don't even have to fight the same way anymore. The power that once intimidated you now serves you. Every past wound has become a doorway for wisdom. Every betrayal is now a boundary in disguise. Spiritually, you've entered a frequency of authority, where you no longer pray for safety, you walk in command. You've learned the art of resting in divine warfare, understanding that your stillness is not surrender, it's strategy. The witches didn't just fail to stop you, they accidentally accelerated your awakening, because their darkness forced your light to mature faster than time itself. And now, your very existence is a divine firewall. Your destiny defends itself. Let me tell you a truth the ancient mystics understood. Energy never dies, it simply returns to its source. Every curse they sent has circled back home. Every lie they whispered now echoes against their own walls. Because you can't project darkness into light and expect not to be exposed. Chosen one, your spirit operates under higher laws. The law of fear has no jurisdiction over a soul covered by grace. The law of revenge can't touch someone ruled by divine balance. And now, karma isn't your enemy, it's your messenger. It moves through time and circumstance, collecting the debt of those who misused your kindness, not to destroy them, but to awaken them. Psychologically, this is closure. Spiritually, this is a correction. Cosmically, it's justice unfolding. You didn't have to lift a hand. You just had to stay in light, and the universe did the rest. Because every chosen one learns. You win not by force, but by frequency. You know why your blessing took so long? Because God was making sure it wouldn't break you when it came. There's a secret reward given only to those who endure spiritual warfare with grace. It's not money, it's not fame, it's clarity. You see through people now. You sense energy before it speaks. You walk into rooms and feel atmospheres shift in your favor. That's divine discernment, the highest form of spiritual wealth. And it only comes to those who've been tested by both angels and demons. Every sleepless night refined your hearing. Every false friend sharpened your intuition. Every heartbreak upgrades your emotional intelligence. Now your soul is fluent in truth. You no longer chase validation, you channel revelation. You no longer seek acceptance, you attract alignment. And that, chosen one, is your real inheritance. The power to see through illusion while walking in light. You might not feel it, but right now, heaven is celebrating you. Your angels remember the nights you almost gave up, the moments you broke in silence but rose again anyway. And every tear you shed became data in heaven's archive, a record of endurance that demanded reward. The witches thought they silenced you, but all they did was increase the volume of your destiny. Because when heaven celebrates, it doesn't throw parties, it opens portals. New doors are aligning for you right now. Divine connections are magnetized to your energy, and opportunities that bypass logic are heading straight toward your path. Why? Because victory doesn't announce itself, it unfolds quietly. While you're healing, heaven is rebuilding your empire in real time. Chosen one, your survival was the trumpet call. Your peace is the anthem. Your purpose is the proof. And your reward has already begun its journey toward you. Chosen one, there comes a moment when pain no longer feels like punishment. It starts feeling like a prophecy. You've reached that moment. The weight you once cursed has turned into your crown. The very things that tried to humiliate you are now what anoint you. Every loss carved wisdom into your spirit, and every betrayal pushed you closer to your divine purpose. You are no longer the one who suffers, you are the one who leads, and your voice carries a vibration that doesn't just inspire, it awakens. You're stepping into the season where your story becomes someone else's survival guide. That's the ultimate reversal. The victim becomes the vessel, the wounded becomes the healer, the rejected becomes the messenger. Spiritually, this is your coronation. Heaven doesn't place crowns on comfort, it places them on courage. And your courage has earned you authority in both realms, seen and unseen. Every time you speak truth now, light travels through your word. Because your voice isn't just sound, it's an assignment. Do you feel it, chosen one? The air around you has changed. It's heavier, but in the way gold is heavy. You've entered the era of manifestation. This is where every unseen prayer starts materializing before your eyes. The visions that haunted your dreams are turning into appointments on your calendar. The abundance you once imagined is beginning to take physical form. You're not chasing anymore, you're commanding. Your energy has stabilized, your frequency elevated, and now the universe recognizes your authority. The same law that protected you through pain now promotes you through peace. Because you've proven you can be trusted with power. Every lesson you learned in the dark has become currency in the light. Every delay became divine data, teaching you how to move with precision. This is not luck, this is law. The law of divine order manifests through your obedience. You've stopped wishing for miracles because you've become one. Before final elevation, there is always exposure, not of you, but of what was hiding around you. Watch closely. In this season, truth will start revealing itself in rapid wave. Masks will fall, intentions will show, and everything that once felt confusing will suddenly make sense. Don't panic. This is not chaos. This is clarity. God is making sure nothing false can travel into your next chapter. Spiritually, it's called purification. Psychologically, it's detachment. Energetically, it's ascension. The witches will expose themselves by accident, because light forces darkness to confess. But your role is not to react, it's to remain still in divine discernment. Because when heaven clears your path, it doesn't do it gently, it does it completely. And the silence that follows exposure is not emptiness, it's room for expansion. This is the moment the world begins to see what God always knew. You were chosen for visibility after victory. The time of hiding is over. The time of shrinking is over. You have walked through shadows and come out glowing. Now, every ounce of power that was drained, stolen, or suppressed is returning to you, multiplied. Your mind is sharper. Your intuition is faster. Your aura has become electric. Every part of you that was once fragmented by fear has been rewired by faith, and that faith now manifests as divine authority. Spiritually, you are standing under an open heaven. Psychologically, you've reclaimed your agency. Energetically, your vibration now commands reverence. This is what divine recompense feels like. Not revenge, not payback, but restoration. Because when God restores, He doesn't give you what you lost. He gives you what you were meant to have all along. The witches never stood a chance, because they fought a battle that had already been decided in your favor before it even began. You didn't just survive, Chosen One. You inherited. Chosen One, this is no longer just your story. It's becoming a movement. Your healing has created a ripple that heaven is now multiplying across souls. Every person who hears your truth feels something ancient stir inside them. That's not a coincidence. That's spiritual resonance. You've crossed the line between personal victory and divine assignment. Your purpose has become contagious. Your courage is unlocking courage in others. Your voice is carrying frequencies that reawaken faith in those who forgot they had any. This is what happens when one light dares to stand in darkness. Others remember their glow. Spiritually, this is called transmission. Psychologically, it's empowerment. Cosmically, it's alignment, where one healed soul activates 1,000 sleeping ones. And now, heaven is using you as proof that transformation is possible. You are the message wrapped in human form. Your scars have become scripture. Your rise is now revelation. The witches tried to silence one person, but instead, they awakened a generation. Do you feel it? The shift in how the world perceives you? The name they once dragged is now spoken with reverence. The same energy that once rejected you now seeks your guidance. That's what divine rewriting looks like. God didn't just restore your reputation, He redefined it. Because the chosen never return to what they were, they evolve into what they were always meant to be. And when heaven changes your name, the earth must update its memory. You were once too sensitive. Now you're deeply intuitive. You were once too intense. Now you're prophetically aware. Every label the world used to limit you has been inverted by divine purpose. Psychologically, that's redemption. Spiritually, that's resurrection. You no longer live under the story they wrote. You live under the script heaven authored. And every syllable of your new name carries authority. They can't curse what God has renamed. Your identity is now your intercession. Chosen One, you are stepping into overflow, not just of wealth, but of worth. Everything that was once scarce in your life is about to multiply. Peace, support, love, opportunity. It's all converging at once because your spirit can finally sustain it. You see, abundance isn't about what you get, it's about what you've become. You've become a vessel that leaks light into every space you enter. That's why blessings are chasing you now, because heaven invests in the reliable. And you, after all this fire, have proven reliable. The universe knows your frequency now. It's gratitude, it's grounded faith, it's divine confidence. So don't shrink when abundance arrives, expand. Don't apologize for being chosen, embody it. Because overflow isn't a reward, it's a responsibility. And as your table fills, you'll realize, the same hands that once hurt you trained you to hold more than they ever could. Finally, the storm has quieted. The warfare has ended not because the enemy surrendered, but because you ascended. Peace isn't the absence of battle, it's the mastery of balance. And now, Chosen One, you've mastered it. You've learned that silence is sacred. You've learned that not every conflict deserves a response. You've learned that divine timing is louder than human explanation. That's why your energy feels untouchable now, because it's sealed in serenity. The witches can't reach what's resting above their frequency. They're still speaking spells, but you've stopped listening. You're operating from a realm they can't perceive. Spiritually, this is called the covenant of peace. It's when heaven entrusts you with calm that can't be shaken. It's when angels no longer need to fight beside you, because your presence itself becomes protection. This is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your reign. Chosen One, this is where everything comes full circle. The storms that once tried to drown you now serve as proof of your depth. The fire that once burned you now fuels your flame. You are no longer merely surviving divine tests, you are embodying divine truth. Ascension isn't escape, it's embodiment. It's when heaven stops feeling distant because it now lives through you. You walk differently, you speak with precision, you move with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are carried by eternity. Every realm recognizes your energy now. The spiritual bows, the karmic clears, the physical aligns. You've become a living intersection of destiny, where heaven meets humanity. The witches' curses have long dissolved into smoke, and what remains is the fragrance of your anointing. Spiritually, this is sovereignty. Psychologically, it's mastery. Cosmically, it's fulfillment. You've learned that power doesn't come from control, it comes from surrender. And in that surrender, you found dominion. Legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's what you ignite in others. And now, your life itself has become a torch. The same divine fire that refined you is now flowing through your words, your presence, your purpose. You were never meant to just heal, you were meant to activate. Every soul that crosses your path will be reminded of something eternal inside them. That's your new mission. To awaken the sleeping, to remind the lost, to guide the rising. Heaven has transitioned you from chosen to channel. You are now the proof of prophecy fulfilled. People will feel peace around you without knowing why. They'll find clarity after speaking to you once. That's not a coincidence, that's divine transmission. You've become the echo of God's whisper in a loud, lost world. And your legacy won't be written in books, it will be felt in hearts. This is the reason you were attacked so early, because the enemy saw the generations you'd awaken. But what he tried to extinguish has become an eternal flame. Look around, you're not alone anymore. Those who went through similar storms are beginning to find each other, drawn by frequency, not familiarity. That's the gathering of the light-bearers, a divine convergence of souls awakened through warfare and purified through pain. You'll recognize them not by what they say, but by what they radiate. Their eyes carry remembrance, their energy hums with ancient purpose. They too were hunted, broken, forgotten, and yet they rose. Together, you'll form the spiritual infrastructure of a new era, an era ruled not by fear, but by faith, not by power, but by presence, not by illusion, but by illumination. This isn't just a spiritual movement, it's a frequency shift across humanity. The chosen are connecting, the light is multiplying, and darkness is losing territory it thought it owned. You are part of this prophecy, chosen one. You are both messenger and movement. Now heaven speaks one last time through the voice of truth. It is done. The warfare has fulfilled its purpose. The pain has done its teaching, and the chosen have taken their place. You stand now as both survivor and symbol. Every wound became wisdom. Every loss became language. Every scar became scripture. This is your eternal declaration, that no witch, no curse, no human scheme can unwrite what God Himself authored. You are the prophecy realized, the promise protected, the purpose revealed, and from this moment forward, everything you touch will bear the mark of heaven. Every word you speak will carry authority. Every step you take will echo through eternity, because God already won, long before the witches ever began. Chosen one, victory is never the end, it's the beginning of stewardship. Now that the war has been won, heaven hands you something greater than reward, responsibility. You see, when God crowns a soul, He doesn't do it for decoration, He does it for duty. You are now entrusted with influence that must be wielded with love, not ego. Your words shape energy, your thoughts seed reality, your actions echo through realms unseen. This is the sacred paradox of the chosen. You were broken to understand compassion. You were humbled to carry wisdom. You were tested to become trustworthy. The universe knows your vibration now. It moves when you move. So speak with intention, walk with reverence, and lead not as one who conquered, but as one who understands. Because every crown heaven gives is forged from tears once shed in faith. And yours, chosen one, still glows with the memory of your endurance. This is the dawn of a new spiritual era, one where intuition replaces fear and truth dismantles illusion. Chosen one, you are not just living through it, you are ushering it in. All around the world, hearts are awakening to what you already learned through pain. That light isn't something you chase, it's something you become. And you, having walked through the shadow, now radiate it effortlessly. You will begin to notice it soon. Strangers opening up to you without knowing why. Animals are drawn to your calm. Children staring at you with the silent recognition of purity. It's not mysticism, it's magnetism. Your frequency now hums at the pitch of divine truth. That's why darkness can't stand near you. It's blinded by what you survived. This is the age of illumination, and you are its first light. You were sent not to preach, but to embody, not to convince, but to remind. The chosen do not just live in the light, they become the evidence that it exists. There will come a time again when heaven goes quiet, not because you've been abandoned, but because you've been trusted. Miracles don't always arrive in noise. Sometimes they hide in stillness. Chosen one, in that silence your power deepens. It's the spiritual equivalent of breath between heartbeats, the universe pausing to admire your alignment. Do not mistake peace for absence. Do not confuse waiting with wandering. The silence after the breakthrough is where mastery begins. It's where God teaches you to create without confirmation, to move without validation, to trust without visibility. That is the mark of the advanced chosen. You no longer need proof, you are the proof. And heaven, seeing that you can hold faith without feedback, releases even greater favor. So when the next quiet season comes, don't question it, smile. Because even in silence, heaven is speaking, through the peace that no spell can shatter. Everything you've endured, everything you've overcome, it's still echoing through eternity. Your journey didn't just change you, it changed the vibration of existence itself. There are souls you'll never meet who will feel lighter because you survived. There are hearts you'll never see that will heal because you kept shining. That's how energy works. It travels beyond awareness, beyond distance, beyond time. The witches tried to curse your moment, but your light rewrote the timeline. What they meant for disruption became resonance, and that resonance, your unique spiritual frequency, will outlive this lifetime. It will echo in bloodlines yet unborn. It will whisper in the prayers of those who will never know your name, but who will feel the warmth of your endurance as unseen grace. Because chosen ones don't just change their lives, they change reality itself. And your echo, chosen one, will forever hum with the truth that darkness never wins. Chosen one, there comes a sacred moment in every awakened soul's path, when survival evolves into service, when your scars no longer ache, they glow. This is that moment. You've crossed through the valley of shadows, not just to escape it, but to light the way for others still trapped inside. You are now a guardian of thresholds, those invisible gates between despair and hope, fear and faith, death and divine rebirth. When you speak, you don't just offer comfort, you open portals. When you listen, you don't just hear, you heal. The energy that once attacked you now bows to you, not because you fought harder, but because you transformed differently. Every curse you overcame became part of your armor, and now heaven trusts you to walk beside those still trembling at the edge of awakening. You are no longer merely protected, you are appointed. The guardian's work has begun. The universe will now begin to send reflections your way, people who carry fragments of your past pain, echoes of your former confusion, shadows of who you used to be. They will arrive in tears, in anger, in silence, and you will recognize yourself in their trembling hands. Don't turn away. You are meeting your old self in every stranger's eyes. Chosen one, this is how heaven heals the world, through mirrors, not masks. You will guide others not by preaching, but by remembering. Every time you choose compassion over judgment, you realign entire destinies, because what you once called your story was never yours alone. It was humanity's healing written in your blood, signed by your endurance. Now your presence becomes medicine. Now your light becomes instruction. Now your truth becomes liberation. You are the mirror that reminds broken souls what beauty remains inside them. Do you remember, chosen one, when the whispers surrounded you, When people called you cursed, unlucky, or forgotten, heaven heard it all, not with anger but with patience, because every false word spoken over your life was destined to become fuel for reversal. The curses did not vanish, they converted. They turned into clarity, creativity, and compassion. Every arrow sent your way was rerouted for a purpose. Every insult became instruction. Every betrayal became a blueprint. That is divine irony. God never erases your enemies. He recycles their energy, and now you stand as the living embodiment of reversal. What they sent for harm became your highest alignment. When people look at you and ask, how did they survive that? Remember this truth. You didn't just survive. You rewrote the code of karma. The curse didn't kill you. It crowned you. Chosen one, this is it. The end of the battle, and the beginning of everything heaven promised. You've walked through storms that tried to rewrite your destiny. You've stood face to face with darkness and refused to kneel. And now you stand as proof that faith is stronger than any spell, and light is louder than any curse. You were never the target, you were the test, a divine experiment in endurance, to prove that even when the chosen are surrounded by fire, they do not burn. Every witch that whispered your name in darkness unknowingly signed your victory in light. Every betrayal became a blessing in disguise. Every closed door is a divine redirection. You are not walking into a new season. You are walking into a new dimension, a realm where fear cannot find you, and shame cannot speak your language. Heaven has unveiled you. The covering has been lifted. The crown that was hidden in pain now gleams with purpose. You are not who you were when this began. You are the fulfilled prophecy, the answered prayer your ancestors whispered, the echo of divine justice made flesh. And so, chosen one, as you rise from these words, remember this truth. You were never fighting against darkness. You were fighting for your awakening, and now that it's here, you owe it to heaven to shine without apology. But this story, this revelation, is not just yours. It belongs to a movement, to the tribe of light that refuses to bow, to every soul who feels these words vibrate deep within their bones. If your spirit trembled while hearing this message, it's because heaven recognized its own frequency in you. So take this as your final confirmation. God already won. You are living proof of His victory. And if you feel called to keep walking this divine path with us, like this message to affirm your alignment, comment, "I'm chosen," so heaven can see your agreement, and subscribe not just to a channel, but to a movement of light bearers restoring divine order to this world. Because this isn't just content, it's a calling, and every time we gather here, darkness loses another inch of ground. Chosen one, rise. Walk in peace, walk in power, walk in purpose, because witches tried to stop you, but God already won. Amen.